Good evening, and it's great to be back with all of you after the Memorial Day weekend. And we begin tonight with the shootings in Uvalde, Texas. It was 1 week ago. We were coming on the air still unsure just how awful it was, and it only got worse. Tonight, as the first of the 19 school children and 2 teachers are now laid to rest, a clearer picture here of the timeline after police arrived, how long it took, and now what appears to be the dispatcher telling police we have children calling 911 from inside that classroom with the gunman pleading for help. The faces of the children lost in a growing memorial outside Robb Elementary School. We saw children today going into a church there to say goodbye to one of their friends. 4th graders now going to funerals to bid farewell. Customs and Border Patrol officers showing their respects 1 week later, returning to the scene again, this time to honor the fallen as the funerals begin. Tonight here, a much clearer timeline of that day, how long it took, as I mentioned, the images of first responders helping children to escape through windows, but some being told not to go into that classroom. Frantic parents urging police to go in and get their children. And new audio tonight appearing to be a dispatcher and that warning. We're getting calls from children trapped in that room. And tonight, the first funeral for 10-year-old Amory Jo Garza. Tonight here, we remember what her father told me about his little girl. Classmates say she was one of the children who tried to call 911 before she was shot and killed. And 10-year-old Maite Rodriguez also laid to rest tonight. She had dreamed of becoming a marine biologist since kindergarten. ABC's Marcus Moore leading us off from Texas tonight on these new developments and what we now know about that day.
For the family of our children.
Tonight, 1 week after answering the call to end that massacre at Robb Elementary, U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents paying their respects at the school in honor of the 19 students and 2 teachers who lost their lives. It comes as investigators piece together each moment of that 77-minute rampage.
Guy with a rifle.
Law enforcement starting with those grainy images appearing to show the gunman walking right into the school. State officials now saying the back door was closed but not locked after a teacher left the building. The suspect entering 2 connected classrooms and locking the doors, firing more than 100 rounds at students and teachers. One of those rooms seen here before the shooting in a photo posted by the school to Facebook. That day, police arriving on the scene 2 minutes after the gunman got into the building. A few officers grazed by bullets in the hallway. Outside, more are seen arriving, but the gunfire continues as frantic parents urge police to save the children.
You know that they're kids, right? They're little kids. They don't know how to defend themselves.
The school district had conducted active shooter training in March, which requires police to confront a suspect. Despite that training, state officials say the on-scene commander that day, school district police chief Pete Arredondo, ordered tactical teams not to enter the classroom, wrongly believing they were no longer dealing with an active shooter, but instead a barricaded subject.
Of course it was not the right decision. It was the wrong decision, period.
In this new video obtained by ABC News, police are seen rescuing children after breaking a window.
More kids running out. They're breaking windows.
Officials say 19 officers were outside the locked classroom when the children inside started calling 911.
She identified herself and whispered, she's in room 112.
On that video, you can overhear a dispatcher reporting a student is calling from the classroom.
You have a child on room 12. Are we able to? Is there anybody inside of the building? Child is advising he is in the room full of victims at this moment.
The girl trying again minutes later.
8 to 9 children.
At 12:16, she's called back and said there was 8 to 9 students alive.
Again, this is 41 minutes after police arrived, but have not gone in. Sources telling ABC News the carnage ended only when the Border Protection agents decided to use a custodian's key to breach the door and kill the gunman.
At 12:47, she asked 911 to please send the police now. At 12:50, shots are fired. They can be heard. With the 911 call.
Outside the school, the race to find the wounded. What sounds like radio dispatch capturing one of the victims talking to police.
Hey, let me see. Are you in there? Where?
A kid got shot. They shot a kid? A girl got shot, a kid.
Today, grieving family and friends laying the victims to rest. The first funeral for 10-year-old Amory Jo Garza. Classmates telling the family she tried calling 911 before she was killed. The Girl Scouts posthumously awarding her a bronze cross for risking her life to save others. Ameri's father telling David that he will live every day to honor his daughter's memory, showing us that cherished video he carries on his phone of the time they spent fishing together.
Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing?
No.
What would you want people to know about your daughter?
That, I mean, she was the best person that I know. Full of life, gone too soon, always smiling, very productive. She was her own self. She was her own person. She was a leader. She didn't try to be like anybody. She wanted to do things the way she wanted to do them. And that's what I admired most about my daughter. She was not a follower, she was a leader.
10-year-old Maite Rodriguez dreamed of becoming a marine biologist since she was in kindergarten. Texas A&M Corpus Christi now setting up a scholarship in her honor. Her mother, Anna, wants Maite and all the victims to be remembered.
Why I want the world to know? Because I don't want her just to be another kid. I don't want her just to be another face. I don't want any of those kids to be just another face. Each one of them has a story to tell.
And that is absolutely true. The idea of fourth graders now going to these funerals. Marcus Moore with us tonight. And Marcus, you mentioned there the chief of the school police and this contention that they thought it was over, that they were dealing instead with a suspect now barricaded in a classroom as one of the reasons for not going in for so long. But I would imagine so many people at home tonight are still asking, wouldn't you still need to get in there to try to save lives of the children who had already been shot?
Yeah, David, it is a key question, and it is one of the many that investigators are hoping to answer. They want to know, what did the officers on the scene, what information did they have about the injured children in that classroom and the 18-year-old gunman in real time? And David, as you just touched on, people here